welcome. It's me, Barry Westmith, I'm the Forbidden Library. And I know on Sundays I would use 3D, but I just wanted to use my model because we're reading Little Prince, and then I base this model off the Little Prince, and it would feel weird if I didn't use this model for reading the Little Prince. Hello, everyone. Hello, Noble Size Phantom. Hello, Benjamin. Hello, Mark. Hello, Foo Fighter. Hello, Boris. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Yes, I know. I'm a terrible PM fan for reading so much. Yeah, we'll have to learn to read again, unfortunately. It's space, Brady. It's space. Yes, I am in space. I also read something today, so we get to add something to the spreadsheet. PM fan specific as well. 284th book is Demian Naval by what's his face? Herman Hesse. Hi, the Native Gamer. Welcome to Stand Alone and Out of this week. Hi, Spooky. Welcome, 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 welcome. So it was the only book I finished this week, but you know, I did because I have a confession. I've gotten so sucked into Final Fantasy XIV recently that I have been neglecting my reading. I have like 3 or 4 books next to me in my to-read list, but I am going on holiday next week, which I will be taking a break during that time. Obviously, I'm not going to be streaming, but I'm on holiday. I do not have a portable setup, so yeah, I will get some good stuff read. I managed to read a bunch of stuff while Brian on holiday. I read Hard to Be a God by Strugatsy Bros and Lord of Light by Roger Design. Very proud. Ooh, very good. Well done, Normal Sense Phantom. Yeah, I go on a holiday next week, so I won't see you guys. I'm not telling. I don't know. I get a little uncomfortable telling you exactly. I can tell you I'm going to Spain. That's a whole country. I want some sun. We're going to Spain. Yeah. 9,706 to go. Blackpool, Spain. A little bit further south. Blackpool, Spain. Nah, I get a little uncomfortable with the idea, Lanya. The rain in Spain falls mainly on me. I hope not. I'm going for the sun. So I can sit by the pool and read or crochet like the old woman I am. That's all I want with my life. That's all I want with my holiday. I just don't want to have to cook or clean or do anything. No thoughts, just books and crochet and maybe dipping in the pool every so. That's all we need. That's all we need. It's gonna be good times. I'm excited. Ready, come by looking like an uncooked sausage roll. Yeah, I might do that. That's possible. Okay, read me it. Okie dokie, okie dokie, Judgment Bird. Ah! It's very hard to read like this. Can I even remember how to, like, spin myself? Oh, I do! There we go. Whee! There we go. I remember. The bird is a wee impatient. The bird needs to... So, I did read some of The Little Prince in my debut for this outfit. However, the translation was terrible. Foo Fighter, I believe, Judgment Bird with the speen Beybladed me. So what I did was I looked for another free copy that was by a different translator. So hopefully it'll sound a little bit better because like the prose weren't very good. The formatting was terrible on the last one I picked, so this one should be a little bit better. I mean, look, we have like a whole double spread thing. This is so cute. Look at it. Look at it. I'm not gonna read the Leon Worth bit because we read that one. That bit was fine last time. So we're gonna restart at chapter 1. Look how much better this is! The pictures are in the right places. 10 out of 10. Rightio. Once When I was 6 years old, I saw a magnificent picture in a book called True Stories from Nature about the primeval forest. It also doesn't call them virgin forests in this one for some reason, which primeval forest the same, so it's a good translation either way. They are figs! Fig number 1! Animal getting swallowed by a boa constrictor. It was a picture of a boa constrictor in the act of swallowing an animal. Here is a copy of the drawing. In the book, it said boa constrictors swallow their prey whole without chewing it. After that, they are not able to move, and they sleep through the 6 months that they need for digestion. Norm-sized phantom, for your health, for your future. This is not what kissing looks like. I pondered deeply then over the adventures of the jungle, and after some work with a coloured pencil, I succeeded in making my first drawing. My drawing number 1. It looked something like this. I showed my masterpiece to the grown-ups and asked them whether the drawing frightened them. But they answered, "Frighten? Why should anyone be frightened by a hat? Is that snake solid?" I wish I could sleep for 6 months after eating meatloaf. I wish I could sleep for 6 months too. That sounds really nice. My drawing was not a picture of a hat, but a hat. It was a picture of a boa constrictor digesting an elephant. Elephanto! But since the grown-ups were not able to understand it, I made another drawing. I drew the inside of a boa constrictor, so that the grown-ups could see it clearly. They always need to have things explained. My drawing number 2 looked like this. Howdy, howdy! We found a better version that, has better formatting and generally prose that make more sense. That last version was pretty shite. Not gonna lie. That's true. If I did go for a 6-month nap, you guys would have to live without me for 6 months, and I don't know if you guys can do that. You guys get sad after a week. The grown-up's response this time was to advise me to lay aside my drawings of boa constrictors, whether from the inside or the outside, and devote myself instead to geography, history, arithmetic, and grammar, and being span. That's my favourite semi-annual streamer. Hello, Kevlar! Welcome. Spinning is your right, I suppose. That'll do. I think I'm still a little wonky, but that'll do. Hi! Oh, you should know, by the way, that I kept this screen. I've called it my fortune-telling screen, so that if we ever have a question, we can pop to the fortune-telling screen, and we can spin the briny to answer our questions whenever we need it. The only way Briny disappears for 6 months is they made a gacha game entirely based on the Little Prince. No, I wouldn't disappear because I'd be playing it! I had this experience as a kid when I draw scenes from Doom in elementary school. Yeah! See? The grown-ups are silly. The great Briny spin does know all. It will answer all life's questions. I was thinking about doing a whole stream of just fortune telling with the spin. That's it. That's the whole stream. That is why at the age of 6 I gave up what might have been a magnificent career as a painter. I had been disheartened by the failure of my drawing number 1 and my drawing number 2. Grown-ups never understand anything by themselves, and it is tiresome for children to be always and forever explaining things to them. I'm glad you're having a good time. Where the fuck did my elephant go? 2.0 was the Speen stream. It kind of was. That wasn't the point, but that's what it turned into, and we had a good time, and that's all that matters. In the course of this life, I have had a great many encounters with a great many people who have been concerned with matters of consequence and speening. Matters of consequence. I have lived a great deal among grown-ups. I have seen them intimately, close at hand, and that hasn't much improved my opinion of them. Whenever I met one of them who seemed to me at all clear-sighted, I tried the experiment of showing him my drawing number 1, which I have always kept. I would try to find out, if this was a person of true understanding. But whoever it was, he or she would always say, "That is a hat." Then I would never talk to that person about boa constrictors or primeval forests or stars. I would bring myself down to his level. I would talk to him about bridge and golf and politics and neckties. And the grown-up would be greatly pleased to have met such a sensible man. It's a skill. So my 2.0 was on my anniversary that I kind of forgot to mention during it because I was so excited for everything else. I've been streaming for 4 years now. Crazy, right? Bridges are cool, but he's talking about the card game Bridge that only old people play. That I have no idea how to play. Chapter 2! If I did have the ability to switch back to the boon without missing a beat, it would still be the first one. True! My hair is blonde! It's not going white! It's pretty and blonde. Shut up. No, if she had hair. I have hair! Look at it! It's here! It can magically transform as well. Look, I could grow it in an instant. Watch. Wah! Suddenly it's longer! And suddenly it's shorter! It's magical hair. This outfit gave me so many magic powers. Granny, shut! That's what wigs do. It's not a wig, though! It's hair. You shut up. There's just spaghetti in it. Nah! It ain't sketty. Shut up. Instant hair changes. No! That's a no! No! Shut up. The AI has a wig. I am not an AI and I do not have a wig. I have fabulous blonde hair. You're the worst. Fine, I'm going to read chapter 2 and ignore you now. Bye. Chapter 2. So I lived my life alone with anyone I could really talk to. Alone without anyone I could really talk to. Until I had an accident with my plane in the desert of Sahara 6 years ago. Something was broken in my engine, and as I had with me neither a mechanic nor any passengers, I set myself to attempt the difficult repairs all alone. It was a question of life or death for me. I had scarcely enough drinking water to last a week. Oi, 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 oi. Must have just... Shut up. Ninja, welcome. Everyone else shut up now. They keep calling me old, Ninja. And bald. But clearly I have hair. Right, I got hair. I'm doing great. Other than my chat being bullies. Nah. The first night, then, I went to sleep on the sand, 1,000 miles from any human habitation. I was more isolated than a shipwrecked sailor on a raft in the middle of the ocean. Thus, you can imagine my amazement at sunrise when I was awakened by an odd little voice. It said, "Hags are an item and bald hags is a complex question." I know that tone, Howdy. But I've got to agree with you. Yes, I do have hair. I'm glad you agree. If you please, draw me a sheep. What? Draw me a sheep. I jumped to my feet, completely thunderstruck. I blinked my eyes hard. I looked carefully all around me, and I saw a most extraordinary small person who stood there examining me with great seriousness. Here you may see the best portrait that later I was able to make of him, but my drawing is certainly very much less charming than its model. I love that different books seem to have different colours. Some of them are blue, some of them are green. I liked the minty green one, so that's why I'm toothpaste flavoured. I recognize your tone, so I can reject it and place it in my own. Exactly! I mean, that's the beauty of this conversation being in text, innit? I don't have to. I could just pretend that's not what you mean, and just pretend I don't see it that way. Yeah, yep. Howdy just agrees with me. He's not being sarcastic and not giving me that yes, grandma tone at all. Minty fresh Friday, yes, I do feel very minty fresh in this outfit. That, however, is not my fault. The grown-ups discouraged me in my painter's career when I was 6 years old, and I never learned how to draw anything except boas from the inside and boas from the outside. Is your jacket scratch and smell? Vincent? It's not scratch and smell, it just generally always smells like that. Bryony likes toothpaste flavor because she can pretend It's one thing to say I don't have hair, but saying I don't have teeth either, you fucking little shit. You keep going on that, I'm gonna blooming time you out. Rude. Now I stared at this sudden apparition with my eyes fairly starting out of my head in astonishment. Remember, I had crashed in the desert 1,000 miles from any inhabited region, and yet my little man seemed nearly to be straying uncertainly among the sands, nor to be fainting from fatigue or hunger or thirst or fear. Nothing about him gave any suggestion of a child lost in the middle of the desert, 1,000 miles from any human habitation. When, at last, I was able to speak, I said to him, But what are you doing here? And in answer, he repeated very slowly, as if he was speaking of a matter of great consequence, "If you please, draw me a sheep." When a mystery is too overpowering, one dare not disobey. Absurd as it might seem to me, 1,000 miles from any human habitation and in danger of death, I took out of my pocket a sheet of paper and my fountain pen, but then I remembered how my studies had been concentrated on geography, history, arithmetic and grammar, and I told the little chap, a little crossly too, that I did not know how to draw. He answered me, "That doesn't matter. Draw me a sheep." But I had never drawn a sheep, so I drew for him one of the 2 pictures I had drawn so often. It was that of the boa constrictor from the outside, and I was astounded to hear the little fellow greet it with, "No, no, no! I do not want an elephant inside a boa constrictor. A boa constrictor is a very dangerous creature, and an elephant is very cumbersome. Where I live, everything is very small. What I need is a sheep. Draw me a sheep." The original Who is the Sassy Lost Child. Correct! So then I made a drawing. This drawing. He looked at it carefully and then said, "No, this sheep is already very sickly. Make me another." So I made another drawing. My friend smiled gently and indulgently. "You see yourself," he said, "that this is not a sheep. This is a ram. It has horns." What? Bri on Twitch, it says you're streaming Limbus. Ah, god damn it! It does. I'm an idiot. The little... Writing and reading. Little prints. Now it doesn't. Thank you for telling me, Maxwell. You're the best. Canto 13. The Secret Demi Canto. All the Dante Canto, since he's both this pilot and, you know, Dante's Inferno. So then I did my drawing once more. But it too was rejected, just like the others. This one is too old. I want a sheep that will live a long time. Howdy, I swear to God. You're a cheeky little shit today, aren't you? Nah. I want a sheep that will live a long time. By this time, my patience was exhausted, because I was in a hurry to start taking my engine apart, so I tossed off this drawing, and I threw out an explanation with it. This is only his box. The sheep you ask for is inside. I was very surprised to see a light break over the face of my young judge. That's exactly the way I wanted it. Do you think that the sheep will have to have a great deal of grass? Why? Because where I live, everything is very small. There will surely be enough grass for him, I said. It is a very small sheep that I have given you. Hello! Ayo Noko-chan, welcome! Live a long time, just afraid to shit. That would be, well, it wouldn't be that impressive to play purple Limbus on the purple, because I could just win rate it. Although I wish Limbus had like a full-on auto. That would be lovely. Can we just get an auto button on Limbus, please, so that I could just win rate? So I could just press auto through my Luxevations? Please! That'd be great. Thank you. He bent his head over the drawing. Not so small that... look! He's gone to sleep. And that is how I made the acquaintance of the little prince. Briny as a lady. Shouldn't that be governess? Ah, it don't matter. It don't matter. It's fine. It's great enough. Thanks. Thank you for the membership. I like that you've made it personal. You did miss. You missed 2 of them. But nice try. Membership! Membership! Look at all the memberships! Chapter 3! It took me a long time to learn where he came from. Little Prince, who asked me so many questions, never seemed to hear the ones I asked him. Spin, 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 spin. Oh, another one. You missed again, Oversized Phantom, but thank you again for the membership. Memberships. Is that what I'm gonna end up calling you guys? You still... It's been 4 years in, and I've like thrown out names, but not quite kept a name for you guys. But I do memberships. That could be a member stream. I draw you all as sheep. I don't know how they'd be different. It'd have to be based, like normal size Phantom. When I drew normal size Phantom, it'd have to be based off your thing. You like the name Benjamin? It is a good name. It's a solid name. Now you have to work on being back to normal now. No. Whippersnap. No. You're the Brionicles. Oh my god, that's amazing. Whippersnapper sounds like a slap. Just never elaborate. Brionicles. I absolutely love Brionicles. That's so good. I love the Brionicles when they were I like the white ones the best. I liked the ice Bionicles. Have we accidentally made our chat name? Do I need to be calling you Brionicles from here on in now? We've got +2 on Brionicles. We'll see how far that goes. Never seemed to hear the ones I asked him. It was from words dropped by chance that, little by little, everything was revealed to me. The first time he saw my airplane, for instance, I shall not draw my airplane. That would be much too complicated for me. He asked me, "What is that object?" Locking in the vote for Brionicles. I should put, let me Discord people. Announcement. A chat name has been put forward. How do we say it? Brionicles. React to vote your approval at everyone. Go. There we go. So I know that everyone in the chat here is happy with it. There has been no sound offs of "that sounds stupid, why would you ever do that?" So we'll see what some of the wider people who can't make it to this stream, Brionicles. We're bringing back the Brionicles! That's so good! That's what Discord's for. Democracy! Apparently that's what... Oh, that was a country that Nepal, I believe, voted for their prime minister on Discord recently. Do we love me? Oh yes, that's true. If we truly want to know if Brionicles is what we need, you must spin me. It causes doom. Okay, so bryonicles do cause doom. Are we prepared for this doom, though? Is this doom truly so bad? Spin me again! Do it! Maybe not. The wheel says no. Bryonicles cause doom is exactly why we must be Bryocles. No, but Bryocles isn't the same. It is a maybe, though. True. Maybe. There we go. We got a yes. Third time's the charm, right? Third time's the charm. So that means we do it. We're the Bryonicles. You're the Bryonicles. I'm not the Bryonicles. You're the Bryonicles. Ah! Closest we get to a chat name, yeah. I don't know. Chat names are strange. Oh, why is that one shiny? Super reacted. We got a lot of reactions already, so yeah. Hi, Bryonicles. That's what you're called now. You're all Bryonicles. Now you can pick which Bryonicle you are. Which mask do you? I like the white one. Like I said, the white one's my favorite. Da, 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 da. I am obsessed with that song from, I think it was Web of Shadows movie, Creeping in My Soul. I was obsessed with that song. It's still on my playlist to this day. You had the blue one, Benjamin's the blue one. I suppose there's not enough colours for everyone, so we're gonna have to share. Native Gamer's the red one. No, Satisfied was the white one too. Yay! We're white friends. Icy friends. Because they were different elements, weren't they? Or at least some of them were, some of them weren't. And it's like Power Rangers, they had different like themes each time, didn't they? Anyway, I got distracted again. Who would have thought that I got distracted again? No, you're the Bryonicles, not the Bryolings. Bryonicles. So good! Where was I even up to? Oh yes, he asked about the plane. What is that object? That is not an object. It flies. It is an aeroplane. It is my aeroplane. And I was proud to have him learn that I could fly. He cried out then, "What? You dropped down from the sky?" "Yes," I answered modestly. "Oh, that's funny." And the little prince broke into a lovely pearl of laughter, which irritated me very much. I like my misfortunes to be taken seriously. Who needs to spin? I can just move. So then he added, "So you too come from the sky? Which is your planet?" At that moment I caught a gleam of light in the impenetrable mystery of his presence, and I demanded abruptly, "Do you come from another planet?" But he did not reply. He tossed his head gently without taking his eyes from my plane. Is it true that on that you can't have come very far away? And he sank into a reverie which lasted a long time. Then, taking my sheep out of his pocket, he buried himself in the contemplation of his treasure. Tiny spinning meek. It is easier to move myself. You can imagine how my curiosity was aroused by this half-confidence about other planets. I made a great effort, therefore, to find out more on this subject. "My little man, where do you come from? What is this where I live, of which you speak? Where do you want to take your sheep? After a reflective silence, he answered, The thing that is so good about the box you have given me is that at night he can use this as a house. Is that so? And if you're good, I will give you a string too, so that you can tie him during the day, and a post to tie him to. The little prince seems shocked by this offer. Tie him? What a queer idea! No, he's fine. He just has a long flowy scarf. That's one of his sort of signatures. But I didn't copy that from my... That's why my hairband is stringy. That's kind of what I was trying to reflect with that. But I didn't want to do a full scarf, because, like, my neck's covered in my other model. So I wanted to, like, be less covered in this one. Not slutty, but less covered. Yeah! Oi! Oh, this is a bad angle. If I do this, I'm covering up the book. We can't be having that. Spin, spin, spin. Speed myself. We can't be covering the book. It's not ideal. It is not. But if you don't tie him, I said, he will wander off somewhere and get lost. My friend broke into another pearl of laughter. But where do you think he will go? Anywhere. Straight ahead of him. No. The little prince said earnestly, That doesn't matter. Where I live, everything is so small. And with perhaps a hint of sadness, he added, Straight ahead of him. Nobody can go very far. So in one of my D&D supplement books, there's a magical item where, as a bonus action, you can make it blow dramatically in the wind. Do you think the prince is one of those? Yes! I've heard of this! But he most certainly has that on his scarf, 100%. Chapter 4! I thus learned a second fact of great importance. This was that the planet the little prince came from was scarcely any larger than a house. But that did not really surprise me much. I knew very well that in addition to the great planets such as the Earth, Jupiter, Mars, Venus, to which we have given names, there are also hundreds of others, some of which are so small that one has a hard time seeing them through the telescope. When an astronomer discovers one of these, he does not give it a name, but only a number. He might call it, for example, Asteroid 325. I have a serious reason to believe that the planet from which the little prince came is the asteroid known as B-612. This asteroid has only once been seen through the telescope. That was by a Turkish astronomer in 1909. On making his discovery, the astronomer had presented it to the International Astronomical Congress in a great demonstration, but he was in Turkish costume, and so nobody would believe what he said. Grown-ups are like that. Fortunately, however, for the reputation of asteroid B612, a Turkish dictator made a law that his subjects, under pain of death, should change to European costume. So, in 1920, the astronomer gave his demonstration all over again, dressed with impressive style and elegance. And this time, everyone accepted his report, because adults are stupid. If I have told you these details about the asteroid and made a note of its number for you, it is on account of the grown-ups and their ways. When you tell them that you have made a new friend, they never ask you any questions about essential matters. They never say to you, what does his voice sound like? What games does he love best? Does he collect butterflies? Instead, they demand, how old is he? How many brothers does he have? How much does he weigh? How much money does his father make? Only from these figures do they think they have learned anything about him. If you were to say to the grown-ups, I saw a beautiful house made of rosy brick, with geraniums in the windows and doves on the roof, they would not be able to get any idea of that house at all. You would have to say to them, I saw a house that cost $20,000, and they would exclaim, oh, what a pretty house that is. Just so, you might say to them, the proof that the little prince existed is that he was charming, that he laughed, and that he was looking for a sheep. If anybody wants a sheep, that's proof he exists. And what good would it do to tell them that? They would shrug their shoulders and treat you like a child. But if you said to them the planet he came from is asteroid B-612, then they would be convinced and leave you in peace from their questions. I don't believe anyone dressed up in, for example, a green coat wearing red. Benjamin! I spout nothing but facts. You can believe all of the lies I tell you. I mean, all of the things I tell you. I should be able to give my scientific presentations while dressed as the Cotton Candy King of Candyland. Yes, you should! If you have the evidence to back it up, it shouldn't matter what you're dressed as, but adults is very silly like that. Your ears? I'm sorry. Turn me down. Then they would be convinced and leave you at peace from their questions. They are like that. One must not hold it against them. Children should always show great forbearance towards grown-up people. Hello, Domaid! I believe all of Brownie's lies, especially the one where she says she has hair. Yeah! My evidence is I'm dressed in a fancy suit. that would work for a lot of people. Confidence on a fancy suit can get you a lot of places. And it's terrible, but we're like this as a human species. Bo, 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 bo. But certainly for us who understand life, figures are a matter of indifference. I should have liked to begin this story in the fashion of the fairy tales. I should have liked to say, once upon a time there was a little prince who lived on a planet that was scarcely bigger than himself, and who had need of a sheep. To those who understand life, that would have given a much greater air of truth to my story. For I do not want anyone to read my book carelessly. I have suffered too much grief in setting down these memories. 6 years have already passed since my friend went away from me with his sheep. If I try to describe him here, it is to make sure that I shall not forget him. To forget a friend is sad. Not everyone has a friend. And if I forget him, I may become like the grown-ups, who are no longer interested in anything but figures. It is for that purpose again that I have brought a box of paints and some pencils. It is hard to take up drawing again at my age, when I have never made any pictures except those of the boa constrictor from the outside and the boa constrictor from the inside since I was 6. I shall certainly try to make my portraits as true to life as possible, but I am not at all sure of success. One drawing goes along all right, and another has no resemblance to its subject. I make some errors too, in the little prince's height. In one place he is too tall, and in another too short. And I feel some doubts about the colour of his costume, so I fumble along as best I can, now good, now bad, and I hope generally fair to middling. In certain more important details I shall make mistakes also, but that is something that will not be my fault. My friend never explained anything to me. He thought perhaps that I was like himself, but I, alas, do not know how to see sheep through the walls of boxes. Perhaps I am a little like the grown-ups. I have grown too old, and I have had to grow old. Boo. It's one of my favourite bits of this book. And I feel like this talks to any grown-up who likes to keep their whimsy. But adult life happens. And grown-ups that pick up that it is hard to pick things up when you get older. And sometimes you don't get the results you want. But you can keep trying. And you can put your little drawings in a book. And look, it's good. It's one of the reasons I like this book. I like that it has a lot to teach. Whether you're a young child or an adult. Hydrate! I'm drinking tea, don't you worry. It does, doesn't it? One of my favorites, it really is. You can do anything! It doesn't matter how old you are. And you might fail. Your results may vary. But it doesn't matter. Posture! Fucking posture check. Fine, my posture's good. Chapter 5. As each day passed, I would learn in our talk something about the little prince's planet, at his departure from it, his journey. The information would come very slowly, as it might chance to fall from his thoughts. It was in this way that I heard on the third day about the catastrophe of the baobabs. This time, once more, I had the sheep to thank for it. For the little prince asked me abruptly, as if seized by a grave doubt, It is true, isn't it, that sheep eat little bushes? Baobabs. 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 It's here. This word here. Baobabs. Yes, it is true. I'm glad. I did not understand why it was so important that sheep should eat little bushes, but the little prince added, then it follows that they also eat baobabs? I pointed out to the little prince that baobabs were not little bushes, but on the contrary, trees as big as castles. And that even if he took a whole herd of elephants away with him, the herd would not eat up one single baobab. Now, baobab's an actual tree, just so you know. I remember when I first said Little Prince, I thought baobabs were made of things. I did too! Same, which is why I am telling you, baobabs are real. Google them. We would have to put them one on top of another. The idea of the herd of elephants made the little prince laugh. We'd have to put them one on top of another, he said. But he made a wise comment. They are not fictional, they are real trees. Real trees. Before they grow big, the baobabs start out being little. That is strictly correct, I said. But why do you want the sheep to eat the little baobabs? I googled baobab and got a cute doggo. What should I do? Baobab. Let me show you. I'll show you the tweets. I'm getting some images. Google Chrome's doing a lot of stuff right now. This is a baobab. Baobabs! Baobab trees! These are baobabs. They are real. They are trees. I mean, if you search baobab, then you're definitely getting something different. But this, baobabs are real. They are very big trees. Nah! Oi, we're being educational! Hey, for your education. I too thought they were made up when I read this, but they're not. They're not space trees. They're actual Earth trees that are in space too, apparently. He answered me at once. Oh, come. As if he were speaking of something that was self-evident, and I was obliged to make a great mental effort to solve this problem without any assistance. I wanna learn! Stop! What are you gonna learn? Boring old Earth trees that are also in space. Indeed, as I learned, there were on the planet where the little prince lived, as on all planets, good plants and bad plants. In consequence there were good seeds from good plants, and bad seeds from bad plants. But seeds are invisible. They sleep deep in the heart of the earth's darkness, until someone among them is seized with the desire to awaken. Then this little seed will stretch itself and begin, timidly at first, to push a charming little sprig inoffensively towards the sun. If it is only a sprout of radish or a sprig of a rose bush, one would let it grow wherever it might wish. But when it is a bad plant, one must destroy it as soon as possible, the very first instant that one recognizes it. We don't need no education, we don't need no baobab trees. No, you do need to know about baobab trees. And I'll tell you why. Now, there were some terrible seeds on the planet that was the home of the little prince, and these were the seeds of the baobab. The soil of the planet was infested with them. A baobab is something you will never be able to get rid of if you attend to it too late. It spreads over the entire planet. It bores clear through its roots. And if the planet is too small, the baobabs are too many, they split it in pieces. Baobabs can destroy planets! Education. It's a question of discipline, the little prince said to me later on. When you're finished your own toilet in the morning, then it is time to attend the toilet of your planet. Just so, with the greatest care, you must see to it that you pull up regularly all the baobabs at the very first moment when they can be distinguished from the rose bushes. Much they resemble so closely in their earliest youth. It is very tedious work, the little prince added, but very easy. And one day he said to me, "You ought to make a beautiful drawing so that the children where you live can see exactly how this is. That would be very useful to them if they were to travel someday, sometimes." He added, "There is no harm in putting off a piece of work until another day, but when it is a matter of baobabs, that always means a catastrophe. I knew a planet that was inhabited by a lazy man. He neglected 3 little bushes." So was the little prince described it to me. I have made a drawing of a planet. I do not much like to take the tone of a moralist, but the danger of the baobabs is so little understood, and such considerable risks would be run by anyone who might get lost on an asteroid, that for once I am breaking through my reserve. Children, I say plainly, watch out for baobabs. My friend, like myself, have been skirting this danger for a long time, without ever knowing it, and so it is for them that I have worked so hard over this drawing. The lesson which I pass on by this means is worth all the trouble it has cost me. This is actually a really good drawing. You can tell the effort he went into on this. Oh no, there's no room for anyone on the planet. The baobabs have taken over. Perhaps you will ask me, why is there no other drawing in this book as magnificent and impressive as this drawing of the baobabs? The reply is simple. I have tried, but with the others I have not been successful. When I made the drawing of the baobabs, I was carried beyond myself by the inspiring force of urgent necessity. So getting creative means getting panicked. The world of the baobabs. Invasion of the body, baobabs. Yes. Baobabs took over the world. It is a good drawing. I like it a lot. It is best. Yeah. Chapter 6. I don't have a percentage for how far we're going through with this, but I suppose I could use my physical copy. We're doing good. So the lesson of this book is to destroy all trees in case they destroy the planet. No! That's only one of the lessons of this book! The other lesson is that it's okay to be whimsical as an adult. And the other one is be careful of trees that will take over the world. Oh, little prince, bit by bit I came to understand the secrets of your sad little life. For a long time you had found your only entertainment in the quiet pleasure of looking at the sunset. I learned that new detail on the morning of the 4th day, when you said to me, "I am very fond of sunsets. Come, let us look at a sunset now." "But we must wait," I said. "Wait? For what?" "For the sunset. We must wait until it's time." At first you seemed to be very much surprised, and then you laughed to yourself. You said to me, "I'm always thinking that I'm home, that I'm at home." Just so. Everybody knows that when it is noon, in the United States, the sun is setting over France. If you could fly to France in 1 minute, you could go straight into the sunset, right from noon. Unfortunately, France is too far away for that. But on your tiny planet, my little prince, all you need do is move your chair a few steps. You can see the day end and the twilight falling whenever you like. One day, you said to me, I saw the sunset 44 times. And a little later you added, "You know, one loves the sunset when one is so sad." "Were you so sad then?" I asked, "on the day of the 44 sunsets?" But the little prince made no reply. There he is, watching his sunsets, moving his chair along so he could continue watching the sunset even when the sun is set. He's a sad boy. Sad baby. Chapter 7. On the 5th day, again, as always, it was thanks to the sheep. The secret of the little prince's life was revealed to me, abruptly, without anything to lead up to it, and as if the question had been born of long and silent meditation on his problem, he demanded, "A sheep, if it eats bushes, does it eat flowers too?" "A sheep," I answered, "eats anything it finds in its reach." "Even flowers that have thorns?" "Yes, even flowers that have thorns." "Then the thorns, what use are they?" I did not know. At that moment I was very busy trying to unscrew a bolt that had stuck in my engine. I was very much worried, for it was becoming clear to me that the breakdown of my plane was extremely serious, and I had so little drinking water left that I had to fear for the worst. "The thorns, what use are they?" The little prince never let go of a question, once he had asked it. As for me, I was upset over that bolt, and I answered with the first thing that came into my head. "The thorns are of no use at all. Flowers have thorns just for spite." Oh. There was a moment of complete silence. Then the little prince flashed back to me with a kind of resentfulness. "I don't believe you. Flowers are weak creatures. They are naive. They reassure themselves as best they can. They believe that their thorns are terrible weapons." I did not answer. At that instant, I was saying to myself, if this bolt still won't turn, I'm going to knock it out with the hammer. Again, the little prince disturbed my thoughts. "And you actually believe that the flowers—" "Oh, no," I cried. No, I don't believe anything. I answered you with the first thing that came into my head. Don't you see? I'm very busy with matters of consequence." He stared back at me, thunderstruck. "Matters of consequence?" He looked at me there, with my hammer in my hand, my fingers black with engine grease, bending down over an object which seemed to him extremely ugly. "You talk just like the grown-ups." That made me a little ashamed, but he went on relentlessly. "You mix everything up together. You confuse everything." He was really very angry. He tossed his golden curls in the breeze. "I know a planet where there is a certain red-faced gentleman. He has never smelled a flower. He has never looked at a star. He has never loved anyone. He has never done anything in his life but add up figures. And all day he says over and over, just like you, 'I am busy with matters of consequence.' And that makes him swell up with pride. But he is not a man. But he is not a man, and that makes him swell up with pride. But he is not a man. He is a mushroom." "A what?" "A mushroom!" The little prince was now white with rage. "The flowers have been growing thorns for millions of years. For millions of years the sheep have been eating them just the same. And is it not a matter of consequence to try to understand why the flowers go to so much trouble to grow thorns which are never of any use to them? Is the warfare between the sheep and the flowers not important? Is this not of more consequence than a fat, red-faced gentleman's sums? And if I know, I myself, one flower which is unique in the world, which grows nowhere but on my planet, but which one little sheep can destroy in a single bite some morning without even noticing what he's doing. Oh, you think that is not important? The prince roasts anyone. The prince is the sassy lost child. His face turned from white to red as he continued. If someone loves a flower, of which just one single blossom grows in all the millions and millions of stars, it is enough to make him happy just to look at the stars. He can say to himself, somewhere, my flower is there. But if the sheep eats the flower, in one moment, all his stars will be darkened. And you think that's not important? He could not say anything more. His words were clearly choked by sobbing. The night had fallen, and I had let my tools drop from my hands. Of what moment now was my hammer? My bolt, or thirst, or death? On one star, one planet, my planet, the earth, there was a little prince to be comforted. I took him in my arms and rocked him and said to him, the flower that you love is not in danger. I will draw you a muzzle for your sheep. I will draw you a railing to put around your flower. I did not know what to say to him. I felt awkward and blundering. I did not know how I could reach him, when I could overtake him and go on hand in hand with him once more. It is such a secret place, the land of tears. Sharks and alligators are older than flowers? That's crazy. But kind of makes sense, given what the world was like. Given we were very oceany. Hiding in the blue. Chapter 8. As soon as I learned to know this flower better, on the little prince's planet, the flowers had been very simple. They had only one ring of petals. They took up no room at all. They were a trouble to nobody. One morning they would appear in the grass, and by night they would have faded peacefully away. But one day, from a seed blown from no one knew where, a new flower had come, and the little prince had watched very closely over this small sprout, which was not like any other small sprouts on his planet. It might, you see, have been a new kind of baobab. I am not older than sharks or flowers. The shrub soon stopped growing and began to get ready to produce a flower. The little prince, who was present at the first appearance of a huge bud, felt at once that some sort of miraculous apparition must emerge from it. But the flower was not satisfied to complete the preparations for her beauty in the shelter of her green chamber. She chose her colours with the greatest care. She dressed herself slowly. She adjusted her petals one by one. She did not wish to go out into the world all rumpled like field poppies. It was only in the full radiance of her beauty that she wished to appear. Oh yes, She was... I have no idea how to say that. Coquettish creature, and her mysterious adornment lasted for days and days. Then one morning, exactly at sunrise, she suddenly showed herself. And after working with all this painstaking coquettish. I am cuter than chalk sunflowers. Yay! She yawned and said, I am scarcely awake. I beg that you will excuse me. My petals are all disarranged. But the little prince could not restrain his admiration. Oh, how beautiful you are! I am not, the flower responded Am I not? The flower responded sweetly. And I was born at the same moment as the sun. The little prince could guess easily enough that she was not any too modest, but how moving and exciting she was. I think it is time for breakfast, she added. An instant later, if you would have the kindness to think of my needs. And the little prince, completely abashed, went to look for a sprinkling can of fresh water, so he tended to the flower. So too she began very quickly to torment him with her vanity, which was, if truth be known, a little difficult to deal with. One day, for instance, when she was speaking of her 4 thorns, she said to the little prince, "Let the tigers come with their claws." "There are no tigers on my planet," the little prince objected. "And anyway, tigers do not eat weeds." "I am not a weed," the flower replied sweetly. "Please excuse me. I am not all afraid of tigers," she went on, "but I have a horror of drafts. I suppose you wouldn't have a screen for me?" A hell screen? No. "A horror of drafts? That is bad luck for a plant," remarked the little prince, and added to himself, "This flower is a very complex creature. At night, I want you to put me under a glass globe. It is very cold where you live, and the place I came from." But she interrupted herself at that point. She had come in the form of a seed. She could not have known anything of any other worlds. Embarrassed over having let herself be caught on the verge of such a naive untruth, she coughed 2 or 3 times in order to put the little prince in the wrong. "The screen? The screen. I was just going to look for it when you spoke to me." Then she forced her cough a little more, so that he should suffer from remorse. Just the same. She's an absolute needy bitch, this flower. I love her. So the little prince, in spite of all the goodwill that was inseparable from his love, had soon come to doubt her. He had taken seriously words which were without importance, and it made him very unhappy. "I ought not to have listened to her," he confided to me one day. "One never ought to listen to the flowers. One should simply look at them and breathe their fragrance. Mine perfumed all my planet, but I did not know how to take pleasure in all her grace. This tale of claws, which disturbed me so much, should have filled my heart with tenderness and pity." And he continued his confidences. "The fact is that I do not know how to understand anything. I ought to have judged by deeds and not by words. She cast fragrance and her radiance over me. I ought never to have run away from her. I ought to have guessed all the affection that lay behind her poor little stratagems. Flowers are so inconsistent. But I was too young to know how to love her. You got a crush on a flower. I love that some flowers require a specific temperature, soil sample, sunlight level, and type of water. And then there's flowers that are like, concrete and gutter water. It is. Plant life is crazy. Chapter 9. Do you recognize this picture? Do you? I used it in my little update trailer thing. Sorry. Oh my gosh! I'm gonna go on a very quick BRB. BR and a B. Wah. I have returned to chapter 9. Hey, look, it's the chapter that has that quote in that we were searching for during the Limbus stream. I believe that for his escape, he took advantage of the migration of a flock of wild birds. On the morning of his departure, he put his planet in perfect order. He carefully cleaned out his active volcanoes. He possessed 2 active volcanoes, and they were very convenient for heating his breakfast in the morning. He also had 1 volcano that was extinct, but, as he said, one never knows, so he cleaned out the extinct volcano too. If they are well cleaned out, volcanoes burn slowly and steadily, without any eruptions. Volcanic eruptions are like fires in a chimney. On our Earth, we are obviously much too small to clean out our volcanoes. That is why they bring no end of trouble upon us. See, if Pompeii had just cleaned out their volcanoes. Oh my gosh, it's been a week. The little prince also pulled up with a certain sense of dejection. The last little shoots of the baobabs, he believed that he would never want to return. But on his last morning, all these familiar tasks seemed very precious to him, and when he watered the flower for the last time, he prepared to place her under the shelter of her glass globe. He realized that he was very close to tears. "Goodbye," he said to the flower, but she made no answer. "Goodbye," he said again. The flower coughed, but it was not because she had a cold. "I have been silly," she said to him at last. "I ask your forgiveness. Try to be happy." He was surprised by this absence of reproaches. He stood there all bewildered, the glass globe held arrested in midair. He did not understand this quiet sweetness. "Of course I love you," said the flower to him. "It is my fault that you have not known all the while. That is of no importance. But you have been just as foolish as I. Try to be happy. Let the glass globe be. I don't want it any more. But the wind. My cold is not so bad as all that. The cool night air will do me good. I am a flower. But the animals, well, I must endure the presence of 2 or 3 caterpillars if I wish to become acquainted with the butterflies. It seems that they are very beautiful, and if not the butterflies and the caterpillars, who will call upon me? You will be far away. As for the large animals, I am not afraid of any of them. I have my claws." And naively she showed her 4 thorns. Then she added, "Now don't linger like this. You have decided to go away. Now go!" For she did not want him to see her crying. She was such a proud flower. Hey, you ready to see some sovereigns of planets? Are you ready for my intro video to make more sense? Chapter 10! How far is this? We're nearly halfway already, if my hard copy is anything to go by. Probably say like 40%. I didn't think this would last long. It's a very cute little story. It can be polished off pretty fast. He found himself in the Katabari Davisi chapter, yeah! He found himself in the neighborhood of asteroids 325, 326, 327, 328, 329, and 330. He began, therefore, by visiting them in order to add to his knowledge. The first of them was inhabited by a king, clad in royal purple and ermine. He was seated upon a throne which was at the same time both simple and majestic. "Ah! Here is a subject!" Sorry for your ears then. Exclaimed the king when he saw the little prince coming. And the little prince asked himself, how could he recognize me when he had never seen me before? He did not know how the world is simplified for kings. To them all men are subjects. "Approach so that I may see you better," said the king, who felt consumingly proud of being, at last, a king over somebody. The little prince looked everywhere to find a place to sit down, but the entire planet was crammed and obstructed by the king's magnificent ermine robe. so he remained standing upright, and, since he was tired, he yawned. "It is contrary to etiquette to yawn in the presence of a king," the monarch said to him. "I forbid you to do so." "I can't help it. I can't stop myself," replied the little prince, thoroughly embarrassed. "I have come on a long journey, and I have had no sleep." "Ah, then," the king said, "I order you to yawn. It is years since I have seen anyone yawning. Yawns, to me, are objects of curiosity. Come now, yawn again. It is an order." "That frightens me. I cannot anymore," murmured the little prince, now completely abashed. Replied the king. "Then I order you sometimes to yawn and sometimes to..." He sputtered a little and seemed vexed. For what the king fundamentally insisted upon was that his authority should be respected. He tolerated no disobedience. He was an absolute monarch. But because he was a very good man, he made his orders reasonable. "If I ordered a general," he would say, by way of example, "if I ordered a general to change himself into a seabird, and if the general did not obey me, that would not be the fault of the general. It would be my fault." "May I sit down?" came a timid inquiry from the little prince. "I order you to do so," the king answered him, and majestically gathered in a fold of his ermine mantle. But the little prince was wondering. The planet was tiny. Over what could this king really rule? "Sire," he said to him, "I beg you will excuse my asking you a question." "I order you to ask me a question," the king hastened to assure him. "Sire, over what do you rule?" "Over everything," said the king with magnificent simplicity. "Over everything?" The king made a gesture which took in his planet, the other planets, and all the stars. "Over all that?" asked the little prince. "Over all that," the king answered, for his rule was not only absolute, it was also universal. "And the stars obey you?" "They certainly do," the king said. "They obey instantly. I do not permit insubordination." Such power was a thing for the little prince to marvel at. If he had been master of such complete authority, he would have been able to watch the sunset not 44 times in one day, but 72, or even 100, or even 200 times without ever having to move his chair. And because he felt a bit sad as he remembered his little planet, which he had forsaken, he plucked up his courage to ask the king a favour. "I should like to see a sunset. Do me that kindness. Order the sun to set." "If I ordered a general to fly from one flower to another like a butterfly, or to write a tragic drama, or to change himself into a seabird, and if the general did not carry out the order that he had received, which one of us would be in the wrong?" the king demanded. "The general or myself?" "You," said the little prince firmly. "Exactly. One must require from each one the duty which each one can perform," the king went on. "Accepted authority rests first of all on reason. If you ordered your people to go and throw themselves into the sea, they would rise up in revolution. I have the right to require obedience because my orders are reasonable." This is very French. I had to take photos, but roses get the reputation of being very delicate in their care. But wild variants of roses are very hardy and can be found in more harsher regions. Fascinating. Then my sunset, the little prince reminded him, for he never forgot a question once he had asked it. You shall have your sunset, I shall command it, but according to my science of government, I shall wait until conditions are favourable. When will that be? Inquired the little prince. Replied the king, and before saying anything else, he consulted a bulky almanac. That will be that will be this evening about 20 minutes to 8, and you will see how well I am obeyed. The little prince yawned. He was regretting his lost sunset, and then too he was already beginning to be a little bored. I have nothing more to do here, he said to the king, so I shall set out on my way again. Do not go, said the king, who was very proud of having a subject. Do not go. I will make you a minister. Minister of what? Minister of justice. But there's nobody here to judge. We do not know that, the king said to him. I have not made a complete tour of my kingdom. I am very old. There is no room here for a carriage, and it tires me to walk. Oh, but I have looked already, said the prince, turning round to give one glance to the other side of the planet. On that side, as on this, there was nobody at all. Then you shall judge yourself, the king answered. That is the most difficult thing of all. It is much more difficult to judge oneself than to judge others. If you succeed in judging yourself rightly, then you are indeed a man of true wisdom. Just ice. Not water or steam? Nope. Yes, said the little prince, but I can judge myself anywhere. I do not need to live on this planet. Said the king. I have good reason to believe that somewhere on my planet there is an old rat. I hear him at night. You can judge this old rat. From time to time, you will condemn him to death. Thus his life will depend on your justice. But you will pardon him on each occasion, for he must be treated thriftfully. He is the only one we have. You can threaten to execute a rat if you stay here. I, replied the little prince, do not like to condemn anyone to death. And now I think I will go on my way. Bye. From time to time. Yeah. No, said the king. But the little prince, having now completed his preparations for departure, had no wish to grieve the old monarch. If your majesty wishes to be promptly obeyed, he said, he should be able to give me a reasonable order. He should be able, for example, to order me to be gone by the end of 1 minute. It seems to me that conditions are favourable. I am not the king in this book. No. I'm not the king. I don't know who I'd be. The king made no answer. The little prince hesitated a moment. Then, with a sigh, he took his leave. I make you my ambassador! The king called out hastily. He had a magnificent air of authority. The grown-ups are very strange, the little prince said to himself as he continued on his journey. Brad, you'll be the second sheet's the ram. You mean the third that's old? I know you do. Yeah, I have the bright. That's true. I have subjects. So I'm better than the king. I have bryonicles. The second planet was inhabited by a conceited man. I'm about to receive a visit from an admirer, he exclaimed from afar, when he first saw the little prince coming. You were tricked into admitting you were the old shit. My intelligence frightens me. Shut up, Hattie. You are the worst little shit today. You're nothing but rude today. Rude! For two conceited men. I don't remember the conceited man. I don't think he's in my book. Chapter 11. I don't have this chapter! Oh no, I do! I found it. It's just like literally a page. Lol. It's just so tiny that I couldn't find it. I missed that in my video sheet. For two conceited men, all other men are admirers. Good morning! Good morning, said the little prince. That is a queer hat you're wearing. I know. There's only so many of you. I can't condemn you all to death. There's only so many. We have to be thrifty about this. This hat is for salutes, the conceited man replied. It is to raise in salute when people acclaim me. Unfortunately, nobody at all ever passes this way. Yes, said the little prince, who did not understand what the conceited man was talking about. Clap your hands, one against the other, the conceited man now directed him. The little prince clapped his hands. The conceited man raised his hat in a modest salute. This is more entertaining. This is more entertaining than the visit to the king, the little prince said to himself, and he began again to clap his hands. Once again, the conceited man again raised his hat. New Little Prince book, but New Planet keeps getting randomly added. Could be like an Eldritch Monstrosity version. Every time you read it, it gets bigger. An SCP copy of The Little Prince that adds different planets depending on who's reading it. After 5 minutes of this exercise, the little prince grew tired of the game's monotony. And what should one do to make the hat come down? He asked. But the conceited man did not hear him. Conceited people never hear anything but praise. Do you really admire me very much? He demands of the little prince. What does that mean, admire? To admire means you regard me as the handsomest and best dressed, the richest and the most intelligent man on this planet. But you're the only man on this planet. Do me this kindness. Admire me just the same. I admire you, said the little prince, shrugging his shoulders slightly. But what is there in that to interest you so much? The little prince went away. The grown-ups are certainly very odd, he said to himself as he continued on his journey. Most certainly. Maybe we should think about writing. Maybe we should do an SCP writing stream where we write a weird SCP copy of The Little Prince that just insults people. We'll get our very own SCP published. That'd be fun. Chapter 12. The next planet was inhabited by a tippler, a drunk. This was a very short visit, but it plunged the little prince into a deep dejection. "What are you doing there?" said the tippler, whom he... Tippler, whom he found settled in silence before a collection of empty bottles and a collection of full bottles. "I am drinking," replied the tippler with a lugubrious air. "Why are you drinking?" demanded the little prince. "So that I may forget," replied the tippler. "Forget what?" inquired the little prince, who was already sorry for him. "Forget that I'm ashamed," the tippler confessed, hanging his head. "Ashamed of what?" insisted the little prince, who wanted to help him. "Ashamed of drinking." The tippler brought his speech to an end and shut himself up in an impregnable silence, and the little prince went away, puzzled. "The grown-ups are clearly very, very odd," he said to himself as he continued his journey. Brownie Planet would be a librarian that can't read and constantly misspells words surrounded by tiny goblins that point out her flaws. Yeah. The Bryonicles, they do that. Chapter 13. This one's the banker, innit? I mean, they're all bankers, let's face it. I'd say we're about halfway now. The fourth planet belonged to a businessman. This man was so much occupied that he did not even raise his head at the little prince's arrival. "Good morning," the little prince said to him. "Your cigarette has gone out." 3 and 2 make 5, 5 and 6 make 12, 12 and 3 make 15. Good morning! 15 and 7 make 22, 22 and 6 make 28. I haven't time to light it again. 26 and 5 make 31. Whew. Then that makes 501,622,731. 500 million what? Asked the little prince. You still there? 501 million can't stop. I have so much to do. I'm concerned with matters of consequence. I don't amuse myself with balderdash. 2 and 5 make 7. 501 million what? Repeated the little prince, who never in his life let go of a question once he asked it. Indeed, sometimes we use the word banker in replace of the W version. And I did say it with that tone, hoping you would get it. And you did! Yay! 101, The businessman raised his hat. During the 54 years I've inhabited this planet, I've been disturbed only 3 times. The first time was 22 years ago when some giddy goose fell from goodness knows where. He made the most frightful noise that resounded all over the place, and I even made 4 mistakes in my addition. The second time, 11 years ago, I was disturbed by an attack of... that. I don't get enough exercise. I have no time for loafing. The third time, well, this is it! I was saying then, 501 million. Millions of what? The businessman suddenly realised that there was no hope of being left in peace until he answered the question. Millions of those little objects, he said. Which one sometimes sees in the sky? Flies? Oh no, the glittering objects. Bees? Oh no, little golden objects that set lazy men to idle dreaming. As for me, I'm concerned with matters of consequence. There is no time for idle dreaming in my life. Oh, you mean the stars? Yes, that's it, the stars. And what do you do with 500 million of stars? 501,622,731. I am concerned with matters of consequence. I am accurate. And what do you do with these stars? What do I do with them? Yes, nothing. I own them. You own the stars? Yes, but I have already seen a king who... Kings do not own, they reign over. It is a very different matter. And what good does it do you to own the stars? It does good of making me rich. And what good does it do you to be rich? It makes it possible for me to buy more stars if any are discovered. This man, the little prince said to himself, reasons a little like the poor tippler. Nevertheless, he still had some more questions. How is it possible for one to own the stars? To whom do they belong? The businessman retorted peevishly. I don't know. To nobody. Then they belong to me because I was the first person to think of it. Is that all that necessary? Certainly. When you find a diamond that belongs to nobody, it is yours. When you discover an island that belongs to nobody, it is yours. When you get an ant's idea before anyone else, you take out a patent on it. It is yours. So, with me, I own the stars because nobody else before me ever thought of owning them. Yes, that is true, said the little prince. And what do you do with them? I administer them, replied the businessman. I count them and recount them. It is difficult, but I am a man who is naturally interested in matters of consequence. You see, rich man, I offer you this counterpoint. Possessions. I discovered this British VTuber, so does that mean I can claim her as my own? No! You didn't discover me first. You were not my first chatter. You're not my first viewer. You do not get to claim me. When you discover accent that doesn't exist, it probably belongs to Brady. Must be the nest, I see you. That's exactly what it's trying to point out. That's exactly what it's trying to tell the kids. Again, I appreciate this whole section. This section's more for the kids of being like, society is stupid. But I am a man. It matters of consequence. The little prince was still not satisfied. If I owned a silk scarf, he said, I could put it around my neck and take it away with me. If I owned a flower, I could pluck that flower and take it away with me. But you cannot pluck the stars from heaven. Wait, that wasn't the businessman talking. Brrr. Hello, Four Elemental. This is the Truth Harpoon. Indeed. If I owned a silk scarf, he said, I could put it around my neck and take it away with me. If I owned a flower, I could pluck that flower and take it away with me. But you cannot pluck the stars from heaven. Truly live in society. Yes, we do. We do. Society is silly. No, but I can put them in the bank. Whatever does that mean? What it means is I write the number of my stars on a little paper. Then I put this paper in a drawer and lock it with a key. Is that all? That is enough, said the businessman. It is entertaining, thought the little prince. It is rather poetic, but it is of no great consequence. On matters of consequence, the little prince has ideas which were very different from those of the grown-ups. I myself own a flower, he continued his conversation with the businessman, which I water every day. I own 3 volcanoes, which I clean out every week, for I also clean out the one that is extinct, no one ever knows. It is of some use to the volcanoes, and it is of some use to my flower that I own them, but you are of no use to the stars. The businessman opened his mouth, but he found nothing to say in answer, and the little prince went away. The grown-ups are certainly altogether extraordinary, he said, simply talking to himself as he continued on his journey. Chapter 14. The 5th planet was very strange. It was the smallest of all. There was just enough room on it for a street lamp and a lamplighter. The little prince was not able to reach any explanation of the use of a street lamp and a lamplighter somewhere in the heavens on a planet which had no people, and not one house, but he said to himself nevertheless, "It may well be that this man is absurd, but he is not so absurd as the king, the conceited man, the businessman and the tippler, for at least his work has some meaning. When he lights his street lamp, it is as if he brought one more star to life, or one flower. When he puts out his lamp, he sends the flower or the star to sleep. That is a beautiful occupation, and since it is beautiful, it is truly useful." Stop being psychologically. The brain waves are too close. When he arrived on the planet, he respectfully saluted the lamplighter. "Good morning. Why have you just put out your lamp?" "Those are the orders," replied the lamplighter. "Good morning." "What are the orders?" "The orders are that I put out my lamp. Good evening." But he lighted his lamp again. "Why have you just lighted it again?" "Those are the orders," replied the lamplighter. "I do not understand." Can't help being psychologically dibbity-doo. It's just the way. We're just born that way. We're just born full of anxiety and weird mental health issues. Yay! "There's nothing to understand," said the lamplighter. "Orders are orders. Good morning." He put his lamp out. He put out his lamp. Then he mopped his forehead with a handkerchief decorated with red squares. "I follow a terrible profession. In the old days it was reasonable. I put the lamp out in the morning, and in the evening I lighted it again. I had the rest of the day for relaxation, and the rest of the night for sleep." "And the orders have been changed since that time?" The orders have not been changed, said the lamplighter. That is the tragedy. From year to year, the planet has turned more rapidly, and the orders have not been changed. Then what? Asked the little prince. Then the planet now makes a complete turn every minute, and I no longer have a single second for repose. Once every minute I have to light my lamp and put it out. That is very funny. A day only lasts 1 minute. Here where you live. It's not funny at all. Said the lamplighter. Well, we have been talking together. A month has gone by. A month? Yes, a month. 30 minutes, 30 days. Good evening. And he lighted his lamp again. As the little prince watched him, he felt that he loved this lamplighter, who was so faithful to his orders. He remembered the sunsets which he himself had gone to seek in other days, merely by pulling up his chair. And wanted to help his friend. You know, he said, I can tell you a way you can rest whenever you want to. I always want to rest, said the lamplighter, for it is possible for a man to be faithful and lazy at the same time. The little prince went on with his explanation. Your planet is so small that 3 strides will take you all the way around it. To be always in the sunshine, you need to only walk rather slowly when you want to rest. You will walk, and the day will last as long as you like. That doesn't do me much good, said the lamplighter. The one thing I love in life is to sleep. Mood. Then you're unlucky, said the little prince. I am unlucky, said the lamplighter. Good morning. And he put out his lamp. That man, said the little prince to himself, as he continued farther on his journey, that man would be scorned by all the others, by the king, by the conceited man, by the tippler, by the businessman. Nevertheless, he is the only one of them who does not seem to me ridiculous. Perhaps that is because he is thinking of something else besides himself. He breathed a sigh of regret and said to himself again, that man is the only one of them, all whom I could have made my friend. But his planet is indeed too small. There is no room for 2 people. So, what the little prince did not dare confess was that he was sorry most of all to leave this planet, because it was a blast every day, with 1,440 sunsets. So many sunsets. The lamplighter just does his job, and his job just gets harder, and no one changes it, and no one changes anything. Yeah. Chapter 15. We'll have to wait, to be honest. Because it's time to go. I gotta go to bed now. Because I'm going on holiday tomorrow. I have to be up very early to get the flight too, so I'm to rest. Wow, it's me. Thank you so much, Em, for coming. Thank you everyone in chat. Thank you anyone who lurked. Thank you anyone who watched the VOD. If you have not already, I would highly appreciate it if you could leave a like and subscribe to the channel. That would be lovely. And if you've done that, go follow the Twitch. If you've done that, join the Discord. If you've done that, pro holiday enjoy. Yeah, I enjoy holidays or vacations, as some other parts of the world say. I go on the vacay. I will be gone for a week. And I will be back when? Let me look at the dates. The 22nd. We'll be back on the 22nd. And we will play Stars in Time then. I'm not going to do full shell. I'm not going to do full shell. I'm just going to say, check out links in the description. Check out Patreon and YouTube membership. Etsy and all those good things. We'll be old by then. As long as you get off the lamplighter one, it'll be fine. In Stars and Time. In water time. In Stars and Time. That is all I have for you for now. Thank you for listening to me read my favorite book. We're pretty far through already. We don't have that much left. It's probably going to take one more stream after this. Unless you guys horrifically derail me. Which is possible. But we shall see in a couple weeks. But for now, I had fun. I hope you had fun. This has been Briny Westmouth, Land of the Friend Library. Good.